Peter, thank you very much indeed. And thank you for your cigarette paper. Your paper on it.
Is this serious, Prime Minister?
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's always been the practice in the past to discourage anti-smoking speeches by ministers and not to print or distribute their speeches if they make them.
Well, I want Peter's speeches printed and distributed. I want everybody to know.
Yes, Prime Minister. Do you think you will win this one? The tobacco lobby is incredibly powerful.
Well, some you win, some you lose, Bernard. This one I shall definitely lose.
And why?
If you were the Treasury, which would you rather do without? £1.5 billion in tax cuts or £4 billion in lost tobacco tax revenue?
Well, the tax cuts, it's smaller.
Exactly. That's what I want, and that's what I shall get.
Oh, it's Sir Humphrey. Can he have a word?
Yes, of course.
Yes, come in, please.
Prime Minister.
Humphrey.
I was just wondering, did you have an interesting chat with Dr. Thorne?
Yes, he proposed the elimination of smoking.
By a campaign of mass hypnosis, perhaps?
By raising tobacco taxes sky high and simultaneously banning all advertising, including at point of sale. Don't you think his position is admirably moral?
Moral, perhaps, but extremely silly. No man in his right mind could possibly contemplate such a proposal.
I'm contemplating it.
Yes, of course, Prime Minister. Please, don't misunderstand me. It is quite right, of course, that you should contemplate all proposals that come from your government, but no sane man would ever support it.
I'm supporting it.
And quite right, too, Prime Minister. The only little problem is that the tax on tobacco is a major source of revenue for the government.
It's also a major source of deaths from killer diseases.
Yes, indeed, but no definite causative link has ever been proved, has it?
The statistics are
Statistics,
unarguable.
you can prove anything with statistics.
Even the truth.
No.
It says here, smoking-related diseases cost the NHS £165 million a year.
Yes, but we've been into that. It has been shown that if those extra 100,000 people had lived to a ripe old age, they would have cost us even more in pensions and social security than they did in medical treatment. So, financially speaking, it's unquestionably better that they continue to die at about the present rate.
When cholera killed 30,000 people in 1833, we got the Public Health Act. When smog killed 2,500 people in 1952, we got the Clean Air Act. A commercial drug kills half a dozen people, and we get it withdrawn from sale. Cigarettes kill 100,000 people a year. And what do we get?
£4 billion a year. 25,000 jobs in the tobacco industry, a flourishing cigarette export business helping our balance of trade, 250,000 jobs related to tobacco, newsagents, packaging, transport.
These figures are just guesses.
No, they're government they're facts.
I see. So your statistics are facts, and my facts are merely statistics.
Prime Minister, I'm on your side. I'm merely giving you some of the arguments that you will encounter.
Thank you, Humphrey. I'm so glad to know that we shall have support such as yours.
But, Prime Minister, it will be pointed out that the tobacco companies are great sponsors of sport. Now, where would the BBC sports programmes be if cigarette companies couldn't sponsor the events that they telegraph?
Humphrey, we're talking about 100,000 deaths a year.
Yes, but cigarette taxes pay for a third of the cost of the National Health Service. We're saving many more lives than we otherwise could because of those smokers who voluntarily lay down their lives for their friends.
Well, Bernard.
Well, Prime Minister.
Very well, Bernard. Things are going very well indeed.
Oh, good.
I've got the Treasury on the run and the Chancellor.
Oh, is that good? When he's a member of your own government?
Of course it's good. You've got to learn to come to heel. You've got to learn to cooperate.
What do you mean, cooperate?
I mean obey my commands. That's what cooperate means when you're Prime Minister.
Prime Minister, why are these tax cuts in your interest? I know the Treasury hates giving money back, but it's your government too.
But it's simple. Cutting taxes by £1.5 billion is going to win us masses of votes. But my ministers are more interested in getting money for their own departments than in supporting me. So I'm using my support for Peter Thorne as a little leverage on the Treasury.
Your loyal support?
Precisely. In order to get their loyal support.
And after you get the tax cut, you will withdraw your loyal support from Peter Thorne.
Dear Bernard, how can you be so cynical? shall simply rearrange my priorities.
Sir Humphrey's waiting to see you outside.
Send him in at once.
Yes, Prime Minister. Your word is my cooperation.
Humphrey,
Prime Minister.
everything all right?
Everything, I'm afraid, Prime Minister, is very far from all right.
Yeah, what's the trouble?
Your anti-smoking legislation.
What about it?
Well, notwithstanding the fact that your proposal could conceivably encompass certain concomitant benefits of a marginal peripheral relevance, there is a countervailing consideration of infinitely superior magnitude involving your personal complicity and corroborative malfeasance, with the consequence that the taint and stigma of your former associations and diversions could irredeemably and irretrievably invalidate your position and culminate in public revelations and recriminations of a profoundly embarrassing and ultimately indefensible character.
Perhaps I could have a précis of that.
There's nicotine on your hands.
What do you mean?
All the hospitality that we've enjoyed at BTG's expense. Champagne receptions, buffet lunches, the best seats at sporting and cultural events.
What's the problem?
The tobacco companies may release this embarrassing information to the press.
It's not embarrassing. I've had drinks at the Soviet embassy. That doesn't make me a Russian spy.
Well, no.
Let them do their worst. Anything else?
Well, Prime Minister, there is another vital point to bear in mind. A lot of people, eminent people, influential people, have argued that such legislation would be a blow against freedom of choice.
Rubbish. I'm not banning smoking itself. Does every tax rise represent a blow against freedom?
Well, depends how big the tax rise is.
That's fascinating. Does 20 pence represent a blow against freedom?
Prime Minister.
25 pence? 30 pence? 31. Is something a blow against freedom simply because it can seriously damage your wealth?
Prime Minister, I must warn you of the difficulties. I foresee all sorts of unforeseen problems.
Such as?
If I could foresee them, they wouldn't be unforeseen.